And sunny, a little bit of haze, and talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, if you look at the daily time frame and the 4-hour time frame and the 90 time frame, you'll have noticed something, even all the way down to the 15, frankly, 15-minute time frame. You'll see that a couple days ago, on the 9th of December, when it made those nice little plunges to the downside, as the VEPs indicated it would, most probably do, and it did, it stabbed through RMLR bands to the downside. Third bands down on the RMLR bands, in some cases on the 1110, in some cases on the 3012, in some cases on both. And then it proceeded to do the mean reversions, starting with the lower time frames and working its way up to the higher time frames. 15-minute, done. Mean reversion completed to both bands. 90-minute, done. Mean reversions completed to both bands. 4-hour, done. Right? To 1, although it didn't even hit the band of it, but it did mean revert to the 1110, and it's still mean reverting to the 3012, which it did hit the third band down of. And then there's the daily time frame. Yesterday was below the third band to the downside on the 3012 RMLR, with the standard look back length and everything of 30 bars. And today, it's been under that band all day so far. So it is spending time under the third STDEV band of the 3012 RMLR, which is currently at 120,000 and change. It doesn't mean it has to shoot up to there today, but it does mean that once it stops being under that third STDEV band to the downside of the 3012 RMLR, which happens to also be below the 1110 RMLR, which is just slightly above where it is now, it is going to be in mean reversion after a couple of candles of not hitting that down band. The probabilities are extremely high. It will be in mean reversion to that 3012 RMLR. And that 3012 RMLR is basically grinding its way up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, but generally grinding upwards over the next month in a pretty steady incline. At least that's the way it looks for now. Of course, the slope of each given day, on that time frame, each candle is one day, will determine the actual shape of that slope. But generally speaking, it is heading in the upward direction over the next month. And so that RMLR is at 120 now. It'll be higher a month after, right? Unless the mean reversion happens between now and then, and it starts to mean revert back down to the 1110 RMLR, which it could do, because if it gets up to that 3012 RMLR, it'll be real close to that 1110 third band to the upside. So if it hits that and then stops hitting it, it would be mean reverting back to the 1110, which currently is, like I said, just above where it is right now. How is this useful information? This is useful information because it means Bitcoin is setting up for a significant move. And at the moment, probabilities are that that significant move is going to go to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean that there can't be some more significant moves to the downside before that happens, or even along the way. But it is to say that once it gets back up over the 3 STDEV bands to the downside of the 3012 RMLR on the daily, it's not a low time frame. Once it stops hitting that band to the downside, right, a rocket is launched, mean progression is in effect, And that lets you use that third band down as a guide for any shorts you might do to it. And it lets you use that RMLR as a mean reversion target as it moves along and gets closer and closer to it, which it will eventually complete that mean reversion, because that's what happens. So this is really significant if you're trading Bitcoin, right? I'm not going to tell you this is your last chance to get under 100, but I will tell you that this is significantly poised to make a very nice move once it stops being below that band. And by the way, like I said, you could certainly have more downside action along the way. Now, at the moment on the daily, the AVRs are indicating up, up, and down, respectively, across the lengths. But you look at the other information too. So for the moment, it is kind of looking to the upside, but that doesn't mean it has to close the day to the upside necessarily, although it very well could. Probabilities are looking pretty decent on that, on the volatility. And the direction predictors in the RMLRs on the daily are starting to shift from drop to starting to slowly climb to the upside. So, or drop less, if not anything, slowly start to climb on the upside. So that is what's to consider. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Happy trading.